D-Star is still in the Fusion verse, but he left this recording for you in case of anything. Please enjoy the video.
Good gosh, it's 2024, oh man. Time really does fly by, but yeah, so this is going to be my top 10 films of 2023. And if you remember my top 10 list before and the rules I added there, the rules are going to be applying here, so if you remember. And yeah, so a thing that I thought about that I'm going to be adding on to this list is that, we can't see every movie in the world. Obviously, that's literally impossible. But at the same time, you kind of really do feel bad because sometimes there are films that I eventually do see later, and I'm just like, man, I could have added that to my list. And, it's kind of or even an honorable mention, that it's really a shame. Before we begin honorable mentions, let's start off with films that I haven't technically seen, but I think I would have added into my list. And the first one being American Fiction, Sisu, Poor Things, The First Slam Dunk, Dream Scenario, and The Zone of Interest. Films that honestly I think I would have added on my list if honorable mentions or in my top 10 list if I did get to see them. I heard great things about Sisu from my friend B Degs, and also a bunch of and the first slam dunk I didn't get a chance to see. I mean, I had the opportunity to go see it, but I wasn't interested. But then I heard a lot of my friends saying that it's a really good movie, and then I tried to see it in some other way, and I just couldn't. But yeah, okay. So let's not waste any time. Let's just get also to honorable mentions. And guys, I've seen a lot of movies, so this is gonna be a long list. So here are my honorable mentions of 2023. Good Burger 2, Blue Beetle, Leo, Ruby Gillman, The Flash, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Barbie, Oppenheimer, They Clone Tyrone, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Migration, Polite Society, Elemental, The Boy and the Heron, Shin Kamen Rider, Digimon Adventure 2, The Beginning, The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes, and Kaguya-sama, Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends. These are films that honestly you should see. Even though they haven't made it on my top 10 list, you should see these movies as well. Even some, if you don't want to see them, if you disagree with me, if you don't want to see them, but but I just recommend that you should see them. But everyone has their own opinion. So yeah, okay. So let's begin. This is my top 10 list of movies of 2023. Fast X. So I'm gonna be quick on this one. If you like the Fast and the Furious series and you just want to see the next chapter in the series, yeah, this is pretty much a really good film. It doesn't add much to like other films that have obviously been better, but I do want to say this film deserved to be on the top 10 list because of the factor that not only is it has the most insane villain out of all of the Fast and the Furious movies, but it also probably has one of the most shocking and depressing endings in any Fast and the Furious movie. I mean, oh my gosh, if you know what I'm talking about, this film is gosh damn depressing, and I'm hoping that in the next movie that I'm going to be watching, it's gonna blow my mind if it's going to be that good. I'm hoping that Fast 11 is going to be good. Wonka. Okay, so I do want to point out that I think this is possibly the second film that I've seen Timothy Chalamet in. The first one being Dune, which I really didn't like his performance in the movie, but I don't think I should blame him because he's been in other great movies such as Call Me by Your Name and Lady Bird. But the factor is that I really enjoyed this movie, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy this movie, and I really liked his performance in the movie. And the reason why is because even when the film was announced, I wasn't really hyped for it because obviously it's just trying to bank on the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory book by Roald Dahl and the name itself. But then when I found out the film is going to be written and directed by Paul King and produced by the people who made the Harry Potter movies, I was all over and being like, yes, this is going to be good. And to no surprise, it was actually a really fun, really good musical film. And let me tell you, I've been humming the songs in the movie. I mean, if you've seen this movie once, you're going to be humming a lot of gosh damn songs for this movie. I swear. It is insane about how hummable these songs are. I mean, I've been kind of playing them on repeat literally after I went to go see the movie because the soundtrack is just really that good. I had also no idea that he could sing. But yeah, if you want to know how I feel about the story, it's a very basic origin story, and I don't know how people will feel about like if this is the Willy Wonka. It's supposed to be a prequel to the classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, so it's going to be compared to Gene Wilder, and I really don't think that's fair in comparison. I mean, to be fair, I do have to say this. It's definitely a better origin story than Konosuba's Megumi origin story. I do have to say that because at least we see a different personality in the character Wonka in this movie than we do in the classic film because, yeah, that's kind of the point of an origin story. Like, how did you get from this to this? And I feel that this film does a better job even if the plot is very simplistic. So, yeah, definitely go check it out when you have the chance. I think it's still playing in theaters, so you definitely owe yourself for seeing this film. Theater Camp. Now, this was one film that was technically recommended by my brother. I was not expecting the film that I saw, but it's also a kind of like a mockumentary kind of musical film. There's technically music and like people singing in the film, but I don't really think it's a musical. It's more of a mockumentary. It's a mockumentary about a camp that basically loves theater, and yeah, basically we have this camp counselor who has no idea what he's doing, and you think it's very generic of a story, but it's actually really funny, wholesome, and just overall, when you get to the ending of the movie, you're gonna be laughing your ass off, man. Seriously, this movie's like really, really good. The Inventor. Now, you've probably never heard about this film or even know that it existed. Heck, I didn't even know that it existed until the last minute. So I saw this trailer on YouTube called The Inventor, and it's a stop motion film, so that already piqued my interest. But then what also piqued my interest was that it was a film that was written by this one of the writers of Ratatouille. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I have some time. I'm going to go see this. And yeah, it was definitely worth it. The basic plot of the movie is that this is a fictional version of Leonardo da Vinci as an inventor. And it is just the most smartest and well-written movie that I have seen in a while. But this is a movie that basically had to go through a lot of distribution. Literally, when I saw the beginning of the movie, there was a lot of companies' names on this movie, and it was pretty insane of how many people distribute movies just to get this movie to be released in the US. And wow, it was definitely worth it. I mean, this film is like really, really good. I mean, I won't say what the movie is or like what the main plot of the movie is because I do recommend that you try to find the movie yourself. If it ever gets released on streaming services or gets a Blu-ray DVD release, it's worth it, guys. It is definitely worth it. You owe yourself to seeing this film, seriously. Definitely check it out. Godzilla Minus One. Now, this is another film that I did see a trailer for. I did see that it was available to watch, and I just never bothered to try to go see it because I was thinking to myself, man, is it even worth it? I want to know because I just kind of got a little bit I got a little tired of the American Godzilla films because I really didn't enjoy King of the Monsters. I didn't enjoy Godzilla versus King Kong because it was just so exhausting seeing nothing but monsters fight. However, this was made in with Toho in mind, and also it's kind of a reboot of the Godzilla franchise, as if Shin Godzilla wasn't a reboot or something like that. I just don't know. But you know what? Out of curiosity and after hearing a lot of one of my favorite movie reviewers, my favorite movie reviewers started talking about it. I'm just like, you know what? Okay, okay, fine, I'll go see it. And I made the right choice. Guys, this is possibly the most emotionally driven Godzilla movie that I've seen. And to a lot of people, people might say this is the best Godzilla movie by far. And I haven't seen that many Godzilla movies, but you know what? Maybe I should check out the other Godzilla movies because I've always been interested in them, but then, the American films have kind of drowned me out with these movies. But now I'm interested in seeing this. After seeing this film, I definitely want to see more Godzilla movies now after this. So, yeah, I'm definitely checking them out. Okay, guys, so this is kind of a long title, so I kind of had to bring up my phone for this because it's technically two movies that take place in the same universe. I know it's hard to believe, but it's an anime movie, so to me, the one who loved you, and to every you I loved before. So, okay, I don't know how the best way to explain this, but so I'll do the best I can. So these are two films that were released simultaneously. And depending on which film you saw first, because you technically had to see both of these movies, the ending would be different. Basically, depending on the films that you've seen. And yeah, I saw this with B-Dags, and we were kind of very impressed that we actually got the good ending. We actually got the happy ending, and while the other film, if we had seen it in a different light, we would have gotten the sad ending. Which, yeah, this film has both a happy ending and a sad ending, depending on which two, but you have to see both of these films. So these films are kind of sci-fi romance films. They're kind of very different with each other. It's basically about a main character who has two paths, either choosing to be going with the mother or going with the father. And depending on where he goes, he ends up meeting a different love of his life. And meeting the love of his life. And yeah, it's quite interesting. It's insane of how crazy it goes with one, but then it also kind of goes a little simple with the other one, but it's like a more emotional struggle. I can't tell you anything at all, but I will say they are sci-fi romances. But I will say this: one film, if you plan on, depending on what you want, there is, like I said, there's a happy ending and there's a sad ending. I do, if you want to see it's basically kind of a risk versus reward kind of thing. I know that's not the best way to explain it, but basically, depending on which film you see, because you have to see both of them, you're going to get a different ending. So yeah, it's all just kind of depending on which you want to see first and which you want to see second. So yeah, see these films in which order you want and just see what you get. But yeah, these films are pretty damn good. Next one. Gran Turismo. Now, okay, so a lot of you are probably shocked. Um, I've never played any of the Gran Turismo games before seeing this movie, and the reason for that is because I've heard of the series, and they're basically car simulator. They're basically car simulators, and like they're kind of race simulators. They're basically like kind of like Mario Kart, kind of like the Need for Speed games, and stuff like that. And they're racing games. And I was thinking to myself, I'm just like, do I want to see a movie that's based on this franchise that had no plot whatsoever? But then I discovered that this film is based on the true story of a player, a Gran Turismo player, who had the opportunity to race in real car races, like real races where you actually had to use a gear shift, drive a car. Like, it's the crazy ass races that, man, are pretty intense. Like, I'm kind of not into this stuff, but I mean, okay, I'm into Fast and the Furious series, but those are usually very fictional and stuff. This is actually real cars, driving races, and I sometimes see them on TV, and I'm usually not interested in what's happening. And obviously, this film definitely took a lot of the original story and tried to make it more interesting. But let me tell you, it's a pretty damn good time. I mean, not only is the acting in this film really good, but the racing in this film is actually pretty intense. Like, I'm not even joking you. You want this main character to literally win this race. You want him to like keep going. You want him to like deal with all these gosh damn other racers. It is crazy how freaking, amazing, intense, like insane. It's just insanity of how like entertaining the races were. I was not expecting it, and honestly, the movie kind of drove me a little bit to tears by the end of the story. I was actually shocked, but yeah, it was a pretty damn good movie. Don't let the Gran Turismo name, destroy it from, because even if it didn't have the name, I still think it's a pretty good movie, even on its own. So yeah, even if you've never played Gran Turismo or you have played it, you'll actually have a good time with this movie. I definitely will say you'll have a good time. John Wick Chapter 4, possibly the final chapter in the John Wick franchise. So, yeah, we all love Keanu Reeves. We all love, John Wick. So, yeah, we all love Keanu Reeves. We all love John Wick. How does this finale to the series hold up? It honestly is pretty damn good. I mean, the staircase scene, just the final battle, and just the craziness that just the fighting choreography, but at the same time, the good acting, even some good acting from Keanu Reeves. I'm actually pretty impressed that he was actually doing some really good acting in certain scenes of the film. But yeah, this is, the final chapter in John Wick. Hopefully the final chapter, because even though the studio said that they want to make more movies, I hope not, because honestly, this is a good finale to the franchise. And it would kind of, if they made more movies, I'm hoping they're just prequels or focus on other characters, because honestly, I don't think I could get any better than this. This was like the peak of John Wick. So, yeah. Lonely Castle in the Mirror. So, okay. This is a film that I really wanted to see. And let me tell you, after seeing the trailers and knowing it's based on a manga series, so yeah, I didn't read the manga before watching the movie, but after watching the film, I was actually kind of impressed. So if you've seen the trailers of this movie or you're seeing people talk about it, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, but at the same time, you're kind of not. This movie kind of is using magical elements as kind of a subtle way of trying to tell you that the main characters are basically dealing with bullying issues. This film is basically showing you of how traumatizing, but at the same time, very, very sadness of bullying. It basically is a film where the characters kind of are like these different characters from like different time periods are basically coming together and trying to like, talk to each other, but at the same time figuring out what they want to do with in their lives and just trying to know if like they're ready to move forward. And honestly, it's a pretty it gets pretty emotional too. Like I remember crying at a few scenes because it kind of related to me in some ways of how I was in middle school and even even a little bit of high school. And yeah, this film really touched me in many ways. I like I said, there's a Blu-ray DVD release. It's available on streaming services. So when you get the chance, definitely check it out. It's a really good movie. And my number one film of 2023, I don't think I can pick. I don't. Oh gosh, so just like how crazy my last top 10 list was, it's even crazier here because there were so many movies that impacted me so well. And to be fair, Lonely Castle in the Mirror did impact me too, but I don't think it impacted me so much and just left the impact on me for a while than these films. And these films are the Super Mario Brothers movie, Suzume, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, The Holdovers, and Nimona. These films like left such an impact on me that I've seen some of these films multiple times, and I even though I seen only a couple of these films only once, I still remember what were in them. I mean, what can I say about any of these films? I mean, the Super Mario Brothers movie, pretty obvious because, I love, Mario, and if you've seen my review with B-Degs, I am in love with this film, and I'm even more in love with it because I have been waiting for this film forever, and I was just kind of shocked that this was done by Illumination, and I thought it was going to bomb hard, only to have those expectations shattered pretty fast. It's just man, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is just everything about it. I mean, it's like amazing, man. It is amazing. This film is amazing. Suzume, Makoto Shinkai, you have definitely done some great. I've seen this film a couple of times. I saw it in IMAX, and it is gosh damn great. It is really really great. And Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. I mean, I've waited for like an another great animated Ninja Turtles movie. I mean, technically, we did get TMNT, but I think that film is very average. But and actually another great. I'm sorry. I mean, I've waited for a great animated Ninja Turtles movie, and this movie did not disappoint. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, this movie is just so good. I'm not even kidding. Thank you, Seth Rogen, for making this movie. And then we get to the Holdovers, and the Holdovers is just a warm comfort hug. It is such a warm hug. It is, but at the same time, it definitely has a lot of swearing for one thing, and just a lot of very emotional moments, even around the holidays. It is definitely a really, really good movie. And Nimona. This was the last Blue Sky Studio movie, and honestly, it was the best way to go out. I really do like the ending. I like the characters. I like the story and stuff like that. So I love it. I just like the film. I just like all of these films, and I just could not. I just tried to see which of these films I would kind of take down, put down on the list, or at the same time films that I would put in the honorable mentions. But no, these films impacted me so much that they all just needed to be on the top. On the top. I just wanted to pick one, but I just couldn't. I'm hoping that's not the case for 2024 at all. But yeah, so yep, those are my top 10 films of 2023. And I am hoping that there's going to be a lot of great films in 2024. Let's just hope. Let's just hope. So yeah, D Star signing out, and I'll see you next time, my Star Chasers.